God bless you, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to download this podcast, this video, wherever you're at. Hey, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit that link, share it with somebody, let them know that they are going to be encouraged today. I want to give you 3 steps today on a house cleaning. And I think we think about house cleaning in terms of spring cleaning, or maybe taking out some things that really don't belong there. Maybe it's clutter, or maybe it's something in your closet that doesn't need to be there. But I want to talk about spiritual house cleaning. You know, in the Bible, it really gives us an understanding of what Jesus did when he went to houses, when he was teaching and preaching in synagogues. We know that his ministry is a ministry of salvation, healing, and deliverance, and he brought forth the plan of redemption. For we know God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him would not perish, but have everlasting life. And so I want to talk to you about 3 things that we must do to have a spiritual house cleansing. Check this out. And for those that have not subscribed, subscribe on the link, and let me know what you think about today's video. And here we go. Let's do this. Okay, so let's talk about 3 things that we must do when it comes to house cleansing. You know, I'm a firm believer that, we live in a supernatural realm. The Apostle Paul said in Ephesians chapter 6, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, rulers of darkness, spiritual hosts in heavenly places." We must recognize that there's a spiritual realm, or domain, shall we say, in which influences tend to come and try to attack our mind. That's why we must invite the presence of God, number 1, into your home. It starts with a simple invitation, right? Jesus, I invite you to come into my space. I come into my home. Be the center of my home. I invite you, Holy Spirit. I mean, this is the first step when it comes to a house cleansing. We want to invite God's presence. You know, in Bible times, in its manner and customs, when someone comes over the house, a drink of water, a cup of water, represents the receiving of that guest or that friend, and also embodies a symbol of peace, which means as we invite somebody in, we give them a drink of water, and we give them peace. Jesus said, "Peace I leave to you," in John chapter 14. And so this invitation of the Holy Spirit really symbolizes the peace between God and humanity. Jesus, who restores our relationship, right, through the blood, think about this, now is reconciled. He's reconciled us to him. And now we can invite the Holy Spirit to come into our place, into our house. Noah, when he was told by the Lord, this is what the Bible tells us. This is heavy. Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. "Then the Lord said to Noah, go into the ark, you and your whole family." Why would he say you and your whole family? Well, we read in Bible times that the household was represented by the head of the household. That's why when you look at your income tax, you'll look at different categories, right? You'll see head of the household, married, single, joint, but head of the household is so key. It was a Philippian jailer that was told by the Apostle Paul, "You and your whole household." So this really brings the significance of how God speaks to the head of the house, how he speaks to the priests of the house, how he speaks to those that lead the house. And so the invitation must come from the head of the house. And that's where, as we receive him, and we offer our drink, and he offers his drink to us, right? Like the woman with the issue, woman at the well, he says, "Give me a drink." And she says, "If you know who I was, if you knew that we Samaritans and Jews, we don't get along." You think about that. God brings peace when you invite him into your home. He brings peace into your situation. In the midst of chaos, he brings clarity. He brings peace. And so you start by, number 1, inviting him into your home. Invite him, "Holy Spirit, I invite you into my home today." Number 2, you identify what does not belong in the home. Pretty simple. I mean, if the TV is running on all day, it's an open gate for us to view and see things that may be contrary to the presence of the Holy Spirit. I quit Netflix a few years ago, and I'm not imposing this on anybody today. I'm not trying to tell you to quit Netflix, nor am I promoting Netflix. However, the Lord spoke to me and said, son, if you give yourself to me the way you give yourself to these movies, I will fill you unlimited. I will fill you, my Holy Spirit, with an unlimited measure. And I was like, yes, I want it. I want that. And so I told my wife, babe, we are quitting Netflix. She goes, no, you're quitting Netflix. I'm not. And so again, I'm not imposing my faith, or I'm not imposing what my personal beliefs are. However, I do know this, that we must identify what does not belong in the home. That's why if you have something that doesn't belong there, maybe it's an old thing that you just kept from maybe way back when, who knows what, and it just brings back these memories that really of your mind being drawn to something else, or drawn to do other things outside practicing the presence of the Lord. It's a decision that must be made, right? That you quit, or you let go, or you sever from that. And I think a lot of times we don't realize things that are attached to things in our home, or things that are we allow in our home, really infiltrate and begin to pollute our spirit. Number 3, this is the final thing, is that we must check this out. We must repair the altar. Find a space. Find a space where you can have your alone time with the Lord. Find a space where you can have your alone time with Him. I know there's limited space for some people. I mean, there's probably a lot of space for some people. But, always have that prepared altar before you and Him. I think a lot of times we don't realize how important it is to build an altar for God. He was Jehovah Nissi in Exodus 17 when they declared him Jehovah Nissi, his banner, our banner. And it was the defeat of the Amalekites that brought and raised that altar up of Jehovah Nissi. What about Jehovah Jireh, our provider? When Genesis chapter 22, when Abram, he laid Isaac at the altar, and it was a test of heart. We know that, a test of loyalty. We know that. It was a test of, okay, where is Abram's faith? I mean, he already left Mesopotamia. He was already drawn by the Lord, and now he's being tested by God to give his only son, which of course we know is a foreshadow of Jesus. And it was at an altar space. I think a lot of times that's what happens, right? We don't recognize that because of life's clutter, because of the things that we go through, we don't recognize that we need to build a space, an altar for the Lord. And so hopefully these 3 things help you with your house cleansing, because as you do this, the presence of God begins to permeate and fill your home, and begins to drive out every evil force, every evil spirit, every evil influence that would try to take you away from knowing who your Father is in heaven. So I want to speak that over you today. Those that are watching, I want to encourage you today that as you watch this video, that you take this and you download it in your spirit, and you apply it, and you practice the presence of God. Thank you again for taking the time and just really allowing me to minister to you today. I thank you, and you're a blessing to me and my family, and we love you. God bless you. We will talk to you soon.